In the previous video, I started construction of this area of the superstructure that contains the top of the conning tower, the captain's sea cabin, the chart house, and some radar rooms. In that video, I got up to the point where I installed the splinter shield on the aft section of this deck. Being a rather photo-etch intense area of the ship, there's still a lot that needs to be done. This screen needs to be installed at the front of the conning tower, along with replacement photo-etch for all of the viewing slits and a hatch at the back of it. In addition to that, splinter shields will be installed around the bowforce positions and support struts underneath the positions. There are also large support struts that will be installed underneath the gun director, and of course, all the hatches will be replaced with photo-etch hatches. I'm going to start with the splinter shields for the bowforce positions. These parts are quite large, and I think they're going to require quite a lot of handling to get them into the right position, so I'd prefer to do that before I've got too much photo-etch that I can easily knock off. After removing the components from their frets, I clean up the burrs using a file, and then put on the initial curve using the back of my hobby knife. You'll notice that I have over-curved the splinter shield. That is intentional. In my experience, if you over-curve a piece of photo-etch and then pull it out to match the correct diameter, it works a lot better than if you under-curve it and try and push it in to meet the correct diameter. If you try and push it in, you'll create kinks and flat spots, which obviously won't look right. While if you overcurve the photo-etch and pull it out to meet the correct diameter, you don't have any of those problems and you have a far easier time installing it. Looking at this photo-etch, my first thought was to install it starting with the end with the flat tab. Then I realized that was a bad idea, because if I started with the end with the flat tab, by the time I got to the curved end, which has to end at a very specific location, I wouldn't have much room to maneuver. So I decided to start with the curved end and work towards the flat end. To begin installation, I place a small drop of medium viscosity superglue on the edge of the deck, and then place the photo-etch on top of the superglue. To reinforce the bond, because I do need this to be quite strong while I manipulate the photo-etch, I place more superglue on the exterior of the component and accelerate the drying of the glue using superglue accelerator. With one end of the splinter shield now secured in place, I can carefully bend out the photo-etch to meet the edge of the deck, and then place small drops of medium viscosity superglue on the exterior of the splinter shield that are caused to set instantly using superglue accelerator. This glue is not intended to create a very strong bond or even to be permanent. All I'm trying to do is tack the splinter shield in place as I work my way around the perimeter of the deck. Once I have worked my way all the way around to the flat tab end of the splinter shield, I bend it into the correct location and hold it in place with tweezers, after which I bond it in place using extra thin superglue. Now that I'm happy with how the splinter shield is sitting across its full length, I can glue it down properly using extra thin superglue that I apply to the full length of the splinter shield. Now that the splinter shield is properly bonded to the deck, all the excess superglue can be removed with files and sandpaper. The process is then repeated for the port platform. Once again, I start at the curved end, tacking it in place with medium viscosity superglue. Once that end is secured in place, I carefully bend out the photo-etch to meet the perimeter of the deck, tacking it in place with superglue along its length. Once I'm happy with how the splinter shield is sitting across its entire length, I reinforce the bond using extra thin superglue. All the excess superglue on the exterior of the splinter shield is then filed and sanded off. Moving on to the next large piece of photo-etch to install, those are these support struts that go under the gun directors. After removing them from their fret, the burrs are cleaned up and they are folded into shape. Once the sides of the support struts are correctly positioned, I bond them in place using extra thin superglue. Any excess superglue that I got on the exterior of the component is then removed using a file and sandpaper. Since these components will be installed underneath the deck, they are going to interact with the level below. That means that they need to be installed while that level is present, otherwise I could introduce fit issues. Here I'm just holding the components together, I haven't glued them together, and while I'm holding them together I position the photo-etch support strut into the location where it is supposed to be installed. Once I'm happy with how it is sitting, I glue it in place using extra thin superglue. Once the support struts are tacked in place, this section is removed from the model and the bonds are reinforced with more extra thin superglue. As always, all the excess superglue is then removed using files and sandpaper. Next, I'm going to work on the photo-etch that goes on the conning tower, starting with the viewing slits. In the previous video, I removed all of the plastic viewing slits. In the location where they used to be, you can still slightly see the outline of the viewing slit. So I placed a small dot in each of those viewing slits just to help me locate the photo-etch ones. To install the viewing slits, I'm using a new tool. This is a silicone picker. The silicone tip is slightly sticky, which enables it to pick up very small components, which can then be more easily positioned, or at least this is the idea. Normally I just use my fine point angled tweezers, and I've never really had problems with that, but I saw this in the shop and I thought I'd give it a go. For the first few viewing slits, the picker worked very well, although I wouldn't say it was really any easier than just using tweezers, but it was quite easy to manipulate the components with it. By the time I got to the end of installing all of these viewing slits, the tip of the picker had become quite dirty and it wasn't picking up components so well anymore. So I tried to clean it. I first tried to rub it off with my finger. That didn't work. I tried to wash it under some water. That didn't work. So I tried to wipe it off with a cloth, and well, that damaged the tip. So now there's a little bit of metal sticking out at the end of the picker, which means it doesn't work so well anymore. So, well, don't recommend. Moving on. Now that all of the viewing slits are tacked into position, I'm going to reinforce the bond using extra thin super glue that I apply with a wire. Once all of the viewing slits are secured in place, I carefully bend out the wriggles and then also bond them in place using extra thin super glue. On the back of the conning tower, I install a small hatch. This hatch has been assembled in the same way as I've assembled all of the hatches up until now. A small drop of medium viscosity superglue is applied to the location where the hatch needs to be installed, and then the hatch is placed on top of the superglue. Once the hatch is correctly positioned, I reinforce its bond using extra thin superglue that I apply to the side of the hatch. While on hatches, I might as well do all of the other hatches, so those are all removed from their fret, folded into position, and installed on the sides of the bulkheads. The exact same process is followed. Small drop of medium viscosity superglue is applied to the bulkhead, the hatch is placed on top of the superglue, the hatch is correctly positioned, and then the bond is reinforced using extra thin superglue that I apply with a wire to the side of the hatch. Next, I'm going to install the screen that goes on the front of the conning tower. This looks like it could be quite a complicated piece to fold. This long, delicate row of windows needs to be aligned along this curve. That is easier said than done. After folding the windows up into position, I use tweezers to carefully bend the windows to match the curve of the roof. As when I was curving the splinter shield for the Bofors positions, I'm going to do this curve in sections as well. I'll curve a section and then place a small drop of medium viscosity superglue to tack it in place before moving along to the next section. Once I'm happy with the curve of the windows, I reinforce the bond using extra thin superglue that I apply with a wire. Now that the windows are properly curved and securely bonded in place, I can remove the excess superglue using files and sandpaper. To reinforce the bond of the windows to the roof, I also applied some superglue to the inside. Here, even if there is an excess of superglue, it doesn't matter because you won't be able to see up into this area of the ship. So I'm able to just place it there and leave it to create a nice, strong bond. Now, for the part that I had not intended to be as tricky as it was, that is installing this section of screen onto the front of the conning tower. What I had not anticipated was the awkward angle that I'd have to hold the superstructure to be able to tack it in place. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that on camera. I was holding the components in all sorts of weird orientations and moving around quite a lot to kind of balance it in the correct place. So the video starts again after I've been able to tack it in place. At this point, it's just a matter of holding the component upside down and then applying more extra thin superglue to the inside of the screen to properly bond it to the conning tower. Next is the installation of the support struts that go underneath the Bofors position. For each platform, there are 5 interlocking pieces of photo-etch that need to be assembled in a very precise location. Too precise for me to be able to do that directly on the model. So I'm going to attach these pieces of photo-etch to each other off the model, and then I will install all the struts once they've been bonded to each other onto the kit in one go. For interlocking photo-etch like this, it might look like this is quite complicated, but this is actually very nice photo-etch to work with. After removing the struts from their fret, I clean up any burrs with a file, and then place the first support strut on an upside down piece of masking tape. The masking tape is just going to help hold the strut in position and keep it standing vertical. With the first support strut in place, I cut off the second support strut. I'm cutting these off one at a time because they are labeled. They do have to go in specific locations, so I don't want to get the order mixed up. That's why I'm keeping them on the fret. After cutting off the second support strut and cleaning it up, I put it in position on top of the first support strut. Because of the notches that are cut into them, they just slot in place perfectly. The strut that runs parallel to the first strut is then removed and cleaned up. Since the third support strut needs to go underneath the second support strut, I pull on the back of the second support strut to lift the front slightly up so that I can get the third support strut underneath it. Once in the correct location, the notches lock into each other and everything settles down nice and flat. This is the most complicated part of constructing these support struts, and you'll also notice that at this point I haven't applied any glue. The last two support struts are then removed from their fret. These two support struts are identical, and they simply slot into place between the first and third support struts. At this point, all that is left to do is to square up the support struts and then apply small drops of extra thin superglue to the top of each of the corners of these support struts to bond them in place. As a unit, the support struts are removed from the masking tape and carefully positioned on the model. And I found a problem. This hatch that I previously installed is slightly in the wrong place and is obstructing one of the support struts, so I need to remove it and reposition it. To remove the hatch, I apply superglue debonder to the area around it and wait a few minutes for it to eat away at the superglue. After a short amount of time, the glue has sufficiently weakened for me to be able to pry the hatch off of the bulkhead. The excess superglue debonder is left to evaporate off, and once the area is dry, it is sanded smooth with 600 grit sandpaper. The installation of the support struts is then reattempted, this time without the hatch obstructing it. It fits in place nicely. While holding the support struts in place, a small amount of extra thin superglue is applied to the edge of the struts to tack them in place. Once tacked in place, I'm able to remove my finger and then apply extra thin superglue across the full length of the support struts to securely bond it to the platform. The process is then repeated on the other side of the ship, and the hatch is reinstalled, this time in a location where it won't be obstructed by one of the support struts. During the assembly of these support struts, I was applying superglue to the corners from above, so I'm concerned that there could be a little bit of superglue sitting on top of them. So just to ensure that everything is nice and smooth, I sand the area using 400 grit sandpaper. That is all of the photo-etch that needs to be installed on this platform, but there's still one more thing that needs to be installed, some styrene stock. This is 1.75mm diameter styrene that will be used to create the support columns for the gun directors. Since these support columns are going up into a cavity that will not be visible, I don't need to worry about the length. I just need to make sure that they're not too short, and I don't need to be too concerned about how that end is cut. So I'm just going to roughly cut it and insert it into the hole. With all of the superstructure components loosely assembled but held in place firmly, I then position the support columns on the deck below. Once I'm sure they are standing vertically, I bond them in place using extra thin superglue. After attacking the support columns in place, I lift the deck off of the superstructure and reinforce the bond with more extra thin superglue. As ever, any excess superglue is removed using files and sandpaper. Now, this is a lot of photo etch, so the first thing that I need to do before I start surfacing and trying to finish this component is to spray it with metal primer. This is Tamiya metal primer. It is going to help the surfacer and paint stick to the metal components. This primer can also be sprayed on plastic components. It won't harm them at all. After applying the metal primer, I apply surfacer, and this is when I found out how good a job I have actually done, because all the defects are now going to become visible. And as expected, there are defects, though fortunately none of them are that bad. On the sides with the splinter shields, there is a small line where the metal ends and the plastic starts. Fortunately, that I can resolve right now using surfacer. I just spray a lot of surfacer onto the splinter shield, let it run and pull into these grooves. If there is too much surfacer on the splinter shields, I can easily just sand that smooth. So I don't have to worry about putting on too much surfacer on splinter shields at least. In addition to the splinter shields, I'm not entirely happy with some of the viewing slits on the conning tower, so I'm going to use superglue debonder to remove some of the excess superglue that is sitting around those viewing slits. Once all of that is done, I respray the superstructure with another round of surfacer, and I'm much happier with how it is looking now. In the next video, I'm going to continue working up on the superstructure. It will be another quite photo etch intense area of the ship, but I am getting near the top of the superstructure now. If you don't want to wait for the scheduled release of videos and want to watch them when they are uploaded, consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below. If you would like to support the channel, like and subscribe, and as always, questions are welcome in the comments. Thank you for watching. Cheers.